good, everybody? Welcome back to the BlitzCity Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr. Now let's get straight into it because we have to talk about Jackson State versus Mississippi. And you all know, I know y'all want me to talk about it right after the game ends. I feel like when you do that, you go off of emotion. And I hate to go off of emotion because how I feel right when the game ends is not how I'm going to feel when I actually go back and look at the game and analyze it from an unbiased perspective. So, I have three opinions. My first opinion, just like I said in the pregame video, right? Jackson State has a tendency to play down to their opponents. That's no diss to any school, but if a school isn't as talented as Jackson State, for some reason, they find it hard to get going right out of the gate. And even Coach Prime said that himself after the game in the locker room. He said it. He said, I don't know. Now, and competition is only going to get harder. Everybody's progressing. Competition is only going to get harder. You can't play everyone like that. So, them giving up that opening drive, which was 2 plays, then, it ended up for a score. I was very shocked by it. It was very uncharacteristic of Jackson State, in my opinion. Now, credit to Caleb Johnson for Mississippi Delta, because Caleb is that guy. Caleb is very talented. I'm not surprised that he did what he did. Caleb is very good, and I give him credit all day. But with that defense, who's ranked number 1 in almost every major statistical category for a defense, I just didn't expect that. That's not them. That's not their DNA as a Jackson State defense. I know Coach Thurman will tell you that. He'll be the first to tell you that. And Coach Prime will tell you that. The players will tell you that. Now, also, to be fair to the Jackson State defense, Aubrey Miller did not start, I don't believe. I think they held him out that first series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe they did that. So, I'm not saying that's an excuse for why they were able to go 2 plays for a touchdown in the opening drive, but I mean, it most likely played a factor. Aubrey is the anchor of that defense. My second opinion, you have Sivion Wilkerson, and he is a magnificent running back. And thank God the running game is light years ahead of where it was last year. With that being said, Sivion does not have to do the majority of the work on the ground, okay? And this game really proved that. That fumble in the red zone kind of proved that. You feel me? It's running backs fumble. We get that. They're allowed to have mistakes. In the red zone, that's a no-no. That's kind of forbidden, but still, they're allowed to have mistakes. But J.D. Martin is just as explosive. I would love for them to use Sivion for the heavy load, sure. But, you have your thunder, use your lightning. Santee, J.D., use your lightning. You have a lot of talented guys in this running back group, all right? So don't put all of the workload on Sivion just because he's performing well. The great thing about y'all in the run game is that JD, when he gets the ball in his hands and when he's in open space, we've seen him make plays. It's like he's inching, like he's flashing greatness, but he can't really show it because he doesn't get the opportunities that's necessary. My third and final thought. I know Coach Prime has this system of, depending on how you play on a practice on a weekly basis, that's going to determine who starts. And I respect that. And I still think he should implement that. But when it comes to the receiver group, like I've said, Dallas Daniels and Willie Gaines are the 2 most, it's been 4 weeks. Dallas Daniels, Willie Gaines, they are the 2 most, what do you call it?
2 hours later. 3 hours later.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Consistent. They are the 2 most consistent wide receivers in that room. Throughout 4 weeks, both of them have been making plays. That's just that. I think when it comes to those 2, yes, for everybody else, how you practice, it depends on how much playing time you get. But when it comes to Willie and when it comes to Dallas, they should be starters at this point. They should be. They should have that job secured. Now, obviously, if they start slacking or if they start messing up, you change them out. But if they're doing what they need to do, I think those 2 have solidified a spot on that offense. I think they've done enough so far. They've shown you enough that they are reliable and they are playmakers for your offense. And when you need a spark, they can provide that. And Willie Gaines is looking like he's starting to emerge a little bit. He's not over Dallas yet, but he's starting to emerge there. So those two needs to be the one who, their spot's guaranteed on that offense. But that's just my opinion. Now, of course, the second half surge, it was very impressive. That's just what Jackson State do. That's who they are. We get all of that. With that being said, you guys let me know what you think down below in the comment section. I think this bye week coming up is going to be very good for Jackson State. It's much needed. And stay tuned for my next video because I'm going to tell you why it's going to get scary for other SWAC teams regarding Jackson State. But with that being said, you are watching the BlitzCity Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr. I'm out. Peace.